Show me.
2025 is now a few months old, and I think I am finally ready to discuss the second half of 2024's martial arts films. The first half of 2024 was banger after banger after banger, and honestly, I would have been okay if we didn't get any more martial arts movies the rest of the year. It was that good, they were so numerous, but we got more, and most of them kept being pretty good. While I do not think we got any more theatrical releases, we do still have quite a few movies to break down. And we will use the very same categories we used for the first half of 2024 to talk about these ones. And of course, you can watch that first half of this video, the first film in this two-part series, up there. Click up there, it's right there. Go watch it. It's very good. Those categories are, of course, foreign films, where you've got Twilight of the Warriors Walled In, 100 Yards, Striking Rescue, The Prosecutor, and Farang. Streaming, this includes Eye for an Eye 2, Hunt the Wicked, The Shadow Strays, Officer Black Belt, and I am including a movie that may have come out the year before last or so, but it's just so bad. It's called Fighter, and look, you already probably know where it's going to end up because I said it's so bad, but I just really need to talk about how truly awful it is. And we have low budget. This includes The Art of Eight Limbs, The Lockdown, Kung Fu Games, Lady Scorpions, and Bangkok Dog. Oh, I do actually have one theatrical release, Kill. Yes, it could be in the foreign category, but I did get to see this movie in an extremely warm and uncomfortable movie theater. So, it's just one to check off the box. So, box checked. I've also gone ahead and recreated the existing tier list from the first half of 2024 so that we can add the rest of the movies. Our tiers are, of course, must watch, recommend, do what you want, and skip it. Judging by the look of things, the first half of 2024 wasn't bad. Let's see how the rest of 2024 panned out. Let's get started with our theatrical release. Kill. This bloodbath from India actually came out in 2023 in its home country, but found worldwide acclaim in 2024. Directed by Nikhil Nagesh Bhatt and starring Laksha, Kill follows a soldier just taking a nice, simple train ride to go see the woman he loves. So it's all this movie's about. It's just a simple, nice train ride. How nice, how calming. Until, of course, a band of robbers takes control of the train and starts offing all of its passengers, at least the ones who aren't cooperative, of course. They're not completely evil. From that point, it is up to our soldier to take action into his own hands and do just as the movie says. Kill. Kill got mountains of attention for its thrilling actions and high levels of violence and gore. And Kill certainly lives up to those accolades. It's a thrilling watch most of the time. Is Kill the most violent movie of 2024? Not really. But not being the most violent movie of 2024 isn't really why I don't love it. It's the pacing. People were praising Kill for its just non-stop action, but as I sat there in that very hot theater sweating, I just could not help but be distracted by the fact that it kept stopping. This is the most stop-start action movie I've maybe ever seen. I have other complaints about this movie that you can go see in my review for it right up there, but truly that pacing and constant stopping of the action made this one very frustrating to watch. In the 2 times I gave it a chance, and I watched it in theaters, I bought it on Blu-ray, I watched it again. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I do appreciate that it is kind of like a reverse horror movie. We don't only follow our protagonist, we also follow our band of robbers as they're just in complete fear of the hero, making him sort of this slasher movie villain. So I may not love the movie as much as most, however, I will still recommend it. Again, I don't like it as much as most people did. Twilight of the Warriors, Walled In. Let's dive into the foreign film, starting with this homage to all things Hong Kong Kung Fu cinema. Twilight of the Warriors Walled In tells the story of two rival gangs, one within the walled-in city of Kowloon, the other just waiting and biding their time on the outside of the city walls, and the younger generation ready to take over. Twilight of the Warriors features an all-star cast including Louis Koo, Sammo Hung, and Philip Ung. And that last guy, I love him. He is just hamming it up in every single scene he gets. He is clearly having so much fun, and that is probably the best way to describe Twilight of the Warriors Walled In. This movie is just fun. There is a healthy amount of drama and twists, but between the colorful characters, the relationships, and diverse action, it's just a super fun movie. The Kung Fu comes in many forms, from grounded choreography and a beautiful blend of more fantastical wuxia elements, with some light wire work and a few characters maybe having a few magical abilities. But what truly brings this movie together is the friendship between our band of heroes. When they form their bond, nothing gets in their way. Whether they are sitting around drinking or going into battle together, they are the heart of the movie, and they help make Twilight of the Warriors Walled In one of the must-see martial arts films of 2024. 100 Yards. From the bombastic epic of Twilight of the Warriors to the grounded and straightforward story of 100 Yards. 100 Yards follows two men, both members of this renowned kung fu school. One is the son of the master, and the other was the highest-ranking student. When the master dies, a blood feud between the two begins as they wage war over who will take over the school. 100 Yards is a gorgeous film from top to bottom. The sets and the cinematography are glorious, and the music helps draw together a sort of Western aesthetic. But that is really where the grandness of this film ends, because the greatness that is 100 Yards really might lie in the subtlety. And nothing in 100 Yards is more subtle than the kung fu choreography. The kung fu in this movie is so subtle, it comes back around again to loud. 100 Yards features some of the crispiest, most stunning kung fu I personally have seen in quite some time. The choreography is as grounded as could be, with these gorgeous subtle flurries of precision and power. And that same level of crispiness goes into the weapons work, with 100 Yards being one of the best weapons films I have seen in a long time. In fact, my favorite thing about the weapons work isn't just the subtlety and the choreography, it's the fact that the weapons themselves are the story. The weapons themselves are one of the most vital parts of the storytelling, with Jackie Hyung being challenged to use this weapon he's never used before, and there's this powerful sense within the story and what's happened leading up to that moment, that it's this powerful sense of irony. And that storytelling, that irony, blends with the choreography and the action so well. It makes every scene incredible. And as much as I know that this movie is not going to be for absolutely everyone, watching Jackie Hyung mow through a crowd of guys with butterfly swords was simply a must-see experience. Really a movie truly made for the Kung Fu fans. Striking Rescue. The Thai warrior Tony Jaa is back to throw down in this revenge thriller coming not from Thailand, but China. Tony Jaa plays a man out for revenge against the people responsible for the death of his family, and now he is a one-man army hell-bent on taking down anyone that gets in his way. We all know and love Tony Jaa. He is responsible for some of the greatest martial arts and action films of the century. He's also been part of some just absolute garbage. But we're not here to talk about Expendables 4, we need to talk about Striking Rescue. Does it lean more Ong Bak or Monster Hunter? And you know what? It's somewhere in the middle. This movie is not perfect by any means, but it's also not a disaster. Tony Jaa was not the only person to get excited about in this movie. Striking Rescue also stars Jing Yu, truly one of my favorite people in all of Kung Fu cinema in the past decade and a half. So of course, Jing Yu plays a dastardly terrible, disgusting villain that you really cannot wait to see Tony Jaa get his hands on. And you can't wait to see just that incredible clash of two amazing performers. And for the most part, that final fight pretty much lives up to the hype. And honestly, one thing that really brought it together wasn't even just the choreography and them just going at it so hard. It was their performances. Like, Tony Jaa genuinely is putting in a great acting performance, especially in that one fight scene. There's moments where the rage on his face, every single thing he says and does in that fight, even coming from Jing Yu, that every throw, every punch, every kick is more believable because their acting is so good. That fight scene truly saved the movie from just being and moved it up to do what you want. This movie is by no means incredible, but I mean, there is a lot to like here. Farang. Here is one that probably could have been discussed in the first video, but for no reason whatsoever, I just didn't. I really don't know why. So let's talk about it now. Farang is a 2023 French film that got a limited US release at the start of 2024. Titled Mayhem for the US release, the film is about an ex-con fleeing his troubles in France as he escapes to Thailand. And when this new life that he cultivates for himself is destroyed, well, it's a martial arts movie. You know what's about to happen. It's revenge time. Violent, very bloody revenge. Oh, it's violent. Farang does not move at the fastest pace, but it does a very good job of building sympathy for our hero, mostly through violence. He experienced some devastating actions towards his family, and you can't help but root for him to destroy the bad guys, not kill. No, we're going full Power Rangers mode. He's going to destroy them. And what ensues on his path for vengeance is truly just some of the most downright disgusting violence you will see in any movie in 2024. It could possibly be one of the more violent movies of last year. It's probably not number one. That's still going to be a movie we talk about later. But just the stuff we see in this is like, it's stuff that at one point kind of stops being fun to watch. And it's just like, oh my God, it keeps going. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's people still bleeding and breaking bones and getting stabbed and shot in the face. Oh, it's still so gory. It's still so violent. Jesus. Later on, we will talk about violence that is quite balletic. But this was mostly just gross. However, it's still pretty awesome to watch. But damn. Every now and again, an epic action or martial arts film emerges from France, and this is one that I can safely recommend. Just don't eat beforehand. The Prosecutor. This one came out in 2024 in China, but we actually got the US release in early 2025. So, you know, it feels mostly appropriate to talk about it here in this video. It totally has nothing to do with the fact that putting Donnie Yen in a thumbnail is sometimes a good idea. The Prosecutor follows Donnie Yen as a former cop turned legal prosecutor off the streets into the courtroom. When Donnie stumbles upon a messy case regarding a young man that he believes has been framed, Donnie's intrepid prosecutor refuses to fight against the case and chooses to get to the bottom of this conspiracy. The action in The Prosecutor does harken back to the like of Flashpoint, SPL, or even Special ID. And there are some very impressive action scenes, both from the choreography standpoint, but even the cinematography and the camera work. And also, of course, Donnie Yen being like 60 years old. However, it never really reaches the heights of those movies I mentioned before. But that's completely fine, because in its core, The Prosecutor is a legal drama. A legal drama with action beats laced throughout, and while I do feel that some of the legal drama is well done and there are court scenes that are genuinely enthralling, a majority of it, for me, does not land. And as I talked about in my review that you can click up there and go watch, I enjoy a good legal drama. I didn't go into this thinking I just want a straight up hardcore Donnie Yen martial arts movie. If you tell me it's a legal drama, I want a legal drama. I love a good one. I love, all those best episodes of Daredevil are sometimes the legal episodes. Of course, you have something like, the Tom Cruise one when he was a military lawyer. I can't think of the name of it at this very moment.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!
I need to calm down. Everything's fine.
Amanda.
I'm an adult.
Who doesn't love My Cousin Vinny? Who doesn't love that Just Mercy with, Michael B. Jordan? I loved that movie a lot. But, again, for me, a lot of this just didn't work. There is something here, but the writing just needed a few more drafts to make it all really hit for me. I understand why many of my colleagues love this movie, but for me, it's kind of just one that I'm going to tell you to just kind of do what you want with it. Art of Eight Limbs. Let's jump into the world of low-budget, straight-to-home video movies. Starting with Art of Eight Limbs. Art of Eight Limbs was part of an extremely exciting endeavor that occurred in 2024. In 2024, a production company called Tiger Style Media partnered with, I believe it was Lionsgate, to release 4 martial arts movies. And they released one big trailer with scenes and clips from all 4 of these movies, and it truly just built this immense excitement within not only myself, but a majority, I'm sure, of the martial arts action cinema community. We all were talking about the movies, speculating on what could go down, what was going to happen, what kind of styles of action we were going to see. It was just, there was so much possibilities. And the first movie to be released from this 4-film collection was Art of Eight Limbs. And it immediately killed all excitement, like a wet fart in a collegiate wrestling match. It was rough. The Art of Eight Limbs stars Ludi Lin and Ron Smorenberg. You may recognize Ludi Lin as Zack from the Power Rangers reboot movie that I quite enjoyed. He played Zack in that one, the Black Ranger. And of course, Ron Smorenberg from being Ron Smorenberg. In the movie, Ludi Lin plays a federal agent who takes MMA fights as a hobby. When a foreign terrorist who just so happened to have come into ownership of some biological weapons of mass destruction is holding an underground martial arts tournament, it is up to Ludi Lin, who has been assigned to infiltrate this tournament and find and, destroy or turn in the weapons. It's essentially Enter the Dragon meets Point Break. Sounds like it could be interesting and full of some amazing fights. Sounds like. I don't know what this movie had against action, but Art of Eight Limbs, it just felt like it took every opportunity to just not show any. Every training sequence, every sparring match, every in-ring fight, every out-of-ring fight, every time something was about to happen, it would just cut away and show something else. With a plot just so paper thin and performances so dreadful, which I can overlook bad performances in a martial arts movie. That's like a majority of the genre half the time. I can completely ignore it and just acknowledge everything else that is good. But when you have all of those terrible things but then don't make up for it with action, it's really gonna put just a big look at me sign on all the other terrible things. And any action we did get, it just wasn't very good. This is going to be the first movie in this 2-part series that I will say is completely skippable. In fact, I'm just going to straight up tell you, don't watch this movie. I certainly wish I did not. The Lockdown. The Lockdown is the second release in the Tiger Style Media collection, and after the last movie, it had a major uphill battle. The Lockdown is about this brother-sister duo who have taken ownership over their father's MMA gym. Their father isn't dead, he's locked up in a Thai prison. And when those siblings need their father's signature to fully sign over the gym into their names, they take a trip to Thailand, where they go, of course, meet him in prison to go get him to fill out this paperwork. And some things go wrong. They get framed for some possession and drug trafficking, and they end up with their father in this Thai prison, where it just so happens to be that the prison warden is about to air this online black market gambling martial arts tournament. You know, he's got some people setting up some computers and some cameras, and they're going to live stream this martial arts tournament so people on the black market can gamble on it. You know, DraftKings. Honestly, not a bad plot. I was kind of into it. And the movie even has a decent bunch of characters for us to root for and against. Our siblings are played by Katie Lotz from Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow, as well as Leo Howard from the Disney Channel show Kickin' It. And their father is Michael Biehn. Weird, right? But where Art of Eight Limbs failed in hiding its action, the lockdown flourishes as it puts as much as it can on display for us to see. The fight scenes are solid and the stars shine bright. Katie Lotz is fine. I like a lot of her stuff in Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow. Honestly, Legends of Tomorrow, up to a certain point, was really my very favorite show, so I loved seeing her in this, and she is a convincing enough talent when it comes to the fight scenes. But where the star truly shines bright is Leo Howard. The lockdown's number one thing it does best is highlighting how good Leo Howard is. I'm convinced, just on this movie, that Leo Howard should be the next Iron Fist. I know they brought back a majority of the cast from Daredevil for the new Daredevil series, but if they recast anybody that they may bring back from the Netflix stuff, recast Iron Fist, recast Danny Rand, and put in Leo Howard. He's already got a relationship with Disney. He was on Kickin' It. Never seen it, but he was on it. He can also actually act, genuinely. He's not just a martial artist who can deliver a few lines before he gets in the ring. No, he's an actor and a fighter, and he's great. So it sounds like the lockdown has completely saved this Tiger Style Media thing, and it's amazing, it's incredible, it's perfect. I mean, not really. I mean, it's still got some acting issues, but my major problem with this movie is it feels like at some point someone decided they just didn't have enough money for the movie anymore, or they just didn't want to make it at some point, because right when it's really kind of amping up and you're like, oh, we're getting into that third act climax, things are about to go down, the movie just ends, not abruptly, it has an ending, but it just feels like they wrote their way to end the movie within the next 2 minutes. And I was really I was looking forward to some more action there, but that was weird. It really feels like the director just didn't want to keep going. It is extremely jarring and takes the wind out of the sails for this movie, bringing all momentum to a halt. However, I still really enjoyed this movie and cannot help but recommend it, especially for Leo Howard. Leo Howard is so much fun, and I truly hope we get to see him throw down more in the future, especially if he's Iron Fist. So Disney, make that happen. Kung Fu Games. Continuing with Tiger Style Media, and they gave us Kung Fu Games, the story of a bunch of martial artists who have all been knocked out and kidnapped, and when they wake up they find themselves in a strange environment where they are forced to fight other teams of martial artists. Turns out they're being live streamed, again the second movie we have here about something being live streamed, for more black market gamblers. But this one feels a lot more BKO Bangkok Knockout, but maybe also die fighting. It's a Saw movie with martial arts. The movie features a solid list of fighters, including the wonderful Mark Strange, Jose Manuel, which you should go follow on TikTok and Instagram, he's a lot of fun, and Caitlin Deschelle. Caitlin and Mark are particular standouts, both getting to display some incredible skills in the choreography, where Jose is more of it's more about his character work. He's kind of this pompous asshole who really doesn't want to be there, and that's very apparent. He still gets to do some stuff, but he kind of had more of an acting challenge on his hands here. Where Kung Fu Games shines is kind of in the stages where all the fights take place. Some of the different stages are clearly modeled after famous Kung Fu classics. There's even a scene where somebody walks into a certain room and just goes, oh, it's a Shaw Brothers movie. And me as a Kung Fu nerd had a little fun giggle. But while Kung Fu Games is a fun idea, not a lot of the action outside of a few moves by Strange and Deschelle really is anything to make note of. I had high hopes for this one, but I still could not help but feel that painful... That gives us one more movie from Tiger Style Media. Lady Scorpions. Lady Scorpions is about a family of badass women. A woman doing her best to run a martial arts school while raising her tween daughter, and that woman's own mother, who is a badass spy lady with a habit of getting into trouble. Our main protagonist is played again here by Caitlin Deschelle, returning from Kung Fu Games. And her hard-ass mother is, wait for it, Cynthia Rothrock. Yeah, that's a pretty good get. I mean, she was also in The Last Kumite, and that was not good. In Lady Scorpions, Rothrock's messy job gets her family into some hot water when Rothrock's granddaughter is taken hostage, and it is up to this 2 generations of women to fight their way to get her back. Lady Scorpions starts out on the right foot. Caitlin Deschelle gets some amazing stuff to do, at least in the first half of this movie. It's the first time we see her, we do see this amazing, wonderful fight scene with her against these 2 guys trying to rob her before we figure out that this was actually just like a display for her students, and it was all just her putting on a show as a little demonstration. Still, very good. Rothrock gets a few decent moments, but honestly, this movie was Deschelle's time to shine. And Lady Scorpions has a few entertaining characters, one in particular being a henchman with a heart of gold. And lots of skill. He's a badass. He's good. His character and Deschelle really set this movie off on the right foot from the very beginning. And that's all fun and great until the second half just grinded this movie to a halt. It was rough. The editing, the pacing, and even a majority of the action just suddenly are awful. It started off on such a fun note, with Deschelle doing some awesome and fun work, but then the pacing and the editing was just a cinder block on the brake pedal of this movie, bringing it to a screeching stop. A screech that sounded like... So the Tiger Style Media movies were 1 for 4. All that hype and excitement for that initial trailer of all 4 movies almost entirely squandered. Bangkok Dog. We are done with the Tiger Style Media stuff, but we have one more movie for the low budget category, and it is a doozy of a film. Bangkok Dog is about an American police officer going undercover in Thailand to get a drug lord he has been chasing for several years. It's all pretty straightforward. It's a cop movie about that I just said. It's that. They try to tease that our hero could be going native because he just mostly likes to party and fight, but a lot of that really does not go anywhere. However, that simple plot is a great vessel for some fights, and the fights are quite good, as to be expected, as this movie stars D.Y. Sao and Brian Lee, as known from all of the amazing fight scenes, short films, and everything they've contributed to the world with Martial Club. As well as Everything Everywhere All at Once, and yeah, you could probably even say Shadow Master. And while Bangkok Dog is fun, full of fights, the fights are just a little bit too familiar for me. That familiarity is not going to be there for everyone. I acknowledge that I've been watching Martial Club on YouTube for a long time, but it's just seeing them, take this step that they've been taking into films, not just, being stunt guys like in Everything Everywhere All at Once, but truly making their own movies. I just recognize a lot of the things I've seen them do over the years in the movies here, and that's fine and fun, that's good, but they are bringing everything that brought them to the dance and just kind of doing it again here, and I'm like, cool, I saw you do that. It feels mean to say do something else, but progress. I want to see new things. And I know that it was not the case for everyone. I have some friends who are unfamiliar with Martial Club's work, and because of that, they loved this movie. So for that, I understand, and I will say, do what you want with this. I did not love it personally, but I know some people out there will. Eye for an Eye 2. Let's jump into the final category as we round the final corner of 2024 here in March of 2025. God, I hope I finish editing this before the end of the month.
You serious?
Streaming, we jump in to Hi-Ya streaming service, where I watched the sequel to the excellent 2022 film Eye for an Eye. Mao Jie is back, and this time he is pulling a lone wolf and cub, as this time his character Cheng Jiaji, I'm sure I butchered that, reluctantly takes in an orphaned girl and he teaches her the ways of defending herself. Cheng continues his bounty hunting ways with his new companion, even showing her a few ways to apprehend bounties. But when the criminal group responsible for the death of the girl's family makes their way into town, he may take it upon himself to help her get revenge. I liked the first Eye for an Eye film a lot. The only flaw with that movie is that it did not feature a lot of action. However, it made up for that in every other way possible, because visually, Eye for an Eye was stunning. There are moments within the cinematography that had me breathless. However, I think Eye for an Eye 2 may have like the opposite effect, whereas it's not this amazing cinematography wise. I don't think it's doing anything that new. It's not breaking boundaries. It's not doing what the first film did. However, this one does have just more action, and it's like really, really good. I am of the belief that Eye for an Eye 2 and just this whole series is right up there with 100 Yards as just some of the best kung fu martial arts action out of China in so long. Like, if this trend keeps up, we're living in some good times right now for movies. Everything else in the world kind of sucks. Eye for an Eye 2 continues the trend, like the first film, of being just an absolute gem of the genre. I said that the first film features some of the best work out of China in quite a few years, and Eye for an Eye 2 is no different. And for that, I of course highly recommend checking this one out. I mean, blind swordsman and flaming swords? How could you not? Hunt the Wicked. Sticking around on Hi-Ya for Hunt the Wicked, a classic game of cat and mouse between Mao Jie, back from Eye for an Eye, and my personal favorite, Andy On. As I was typing this part of the video that you're seeing right now out, I found myself hitting a wall, looking for a way to properly explain the plot of this movie. The best I could come up with was a game of cat and mouse between a cop and a criminal, but I truly could not recall like exact details of this plot. It has been several months since I've seen it, but I mean, it's been several months since I've seen a lot of these movies, and I did a pretty good job of those, as much as I put the effort in. So I went Googling, I went searching, like looking for like explain this, like just like the basic plot for me to give like a summary. And like I didn't want to copy paste something, because truly the thing I kept finding on everything from IMDb to other sites was the exact same thing every single time. And the synopsis I found here is just the most vague bullshit I've ever read. So honestly, a game of cat and mouse is the best I could do. It's the most I can make of this mess of a movie, but what I can talk about is the bombastic action throughout the movie, because it is just a lot everywhere, all the time. Hunt the Wicked starts at a blistering pace as Andy On gets a fast-paced action scene, blowing through enemies with ease, setting him up to be this like kind of epic protagonist, until we of course later find out that he's actually the antagonist. So that means he's a threat. Mao Jie is the real hero, proving once again in this movie that he really is like one of the better leading men in the action space today. Every action sequence in this movie keeps that same pace, that same energy, culminating in a great scene in which our hero and villain temporarily team up in this wonderful blistering speed action scene that is very reminiscent of both like John Wick mixed with some like Kali stick fighting and then some great knife work, all hyper stylized in this one-shot style fight scene. And while one-shot style scenes really are a dime a dozen these days, this one was still pretty solid. Like, you know, I'd talk about it. I like it. but I do not love it, and I could see some people being completely turned off by the fairly meandering plot. So for that, just do what you want with this one. Fighter. I'm gonna make this one quick. Fighter is another Hayao movie. This is about an international MMA event with the big finale being China versus America. Easily one of the worst things I have ever seen in my entire life. Characters are dubbed over to be speaking other languages, and it's clearly an AI voice that sounds horrendous. The green screen and CGI are abysmal. I'm pretty sure the training sequence in this movie where he spars with crocodiles was on Corridor Crew, because it's so bad. The actual fight scenes are done so poorly that anyone watching this movie runs the risk of contracting dysentery. I was playing the Oregon Trail, and I lost when I made a left turn and came across this movie playing on an OLED screen. It's so bad. Now, granted, my characters probably just got confused and died from a stroke because they were like, wow, this OLED screen is so good, I can't tell what's real and what's fake. But I'm pretty sure it's just because, the movie was just that bad that my entire party just died. Probably from the dysentery. I've seen a lot of movies. I've seen a lot of fight scenes over the years, and this is easily one of the most disturbing movies I have ever seen. It's so disturbing. It is up there with Midsommar. It is up there with The Exorcist, with Dragon Ball Evolution, and Cannibal Holocaust. And then The Fighter. All those are down here, and then Fighter's up there. And while American villains being loudmouth, pompous jackasses is par for the course for a Chinese kung fu, martial arts, action movie, whatever, this one is one of the worst I have ever seen. It is just the worst example of an already tired trope that is just one more piece of an already inedible pie that makes this movie just completely unwatchable. So if you're anything like me, or scratch that, if you have a pulse, skip it. Just skip it. Skip it. Imagine that you live in a world where this movie never even existed in the first place. This is pure cinematic drivel, and it was the most challenging thing I've ever watched. Experiencing this movie was torturous. Officer Black Belt. We head over to Netflix for our final two movies, and we head over to South Korea for some classic South Korean action thrillers. Officer Black Belt follows Lee Jung-do, a young man who spends his days either training in martial arts or playing video games. After he helps stop a vicious assault, he is recruited by an organization to be a martial arts officer. These are people who go out and ride along with parole officers in case anything, goes down, they can step in and throw down. Seeing more and more of the criminal underbelly of his city takes a mental toll on Jung-do, and when he sees something he just can't unsee, he decides to step up and put an end to all of it by himself. Officer Black Belt has a very silly title. A title that I think discouraged people from watching it. I imagine people saw this on Netflix and just kept scrolling and watched something else that was on there and far more mediocre. But Officer Black Belt is an incredible exercise in the dramatic change of tone. As Lee Jung-do is introduced to this new job, he is so lighthearted. The film is lighthearted, and Jung-do is curious and eager, and we can see that in him. But the more he sees, and the more we see, the darker the movie gets, and the tone and imagery grow more and more disturbing. And Lee Jung-do's smile fades. Now, the fights in this one may be few, but what is there is wonderfully crafted bouts, each one more dangerous than the last. I don't think this movie was incredible, but it is one that I have been recommending to people since its release, and I surely hope you've seen it by now. The Shadow Strays. If you saw the first edition of this video, then you know that I like to end with a banger. The Shadow Strays is the latest Indonesian film from visionary director Timo Tjahjanto. The Shadow Strays is about a young woman named 13, a member of an elite squad of assassins known by an unlucky few as Shadows. After a mission that sees a few minor setbacks, 13 is told to go home on a leave of absence to rest. But she finds herself unable to do so as her neighbor, a young boy, is kidnapped, and she takes it upon herself to put her shadow skills to use to get him back. Meanwhile, the rest of the Shadows are making some dangerous discoveries in their world of elite killers. The Shadow Strays is another example of Timo Tjahjanto being one of the more skilled and talented directors working today. Every director has their style, their calling cards, and one of Timo's most powerful tools is his ability to capture brutality in such a pure way that it never comes off as crude or mean-spirited. And one way he does that is just with solid characters. Everyone in Shadow Strays plays a key role, and even if they're not the deepest or most fleshed out people, they still play their role to progress everything forward. 13 actress Aurora Ribeiro is incredible as she plays every moment of sympathy, of heartbreak, of rage to perfection. And when she gets to work in the action, she comes off as a natural. Every fight brings its own dangers, and every fight is more and more harrowing, with the violence escalating brawl after brawl. Every bit of action is intense, but those final two one-on-one fights bring an intensity rivaled by very few films of 2024. Remember at the very start of this, when I said that Kill wasn't the most violent movie of the year? It wasn't even Farang. It was this. And it's amazing. It's not gross, it's not disgusting, it's not revolting. I'd probably even say it's beautiful. If you're squeamish, then maybe watch this one through the cracks in your fingers, but everyone should be prepared for one of the must-see films of not only 2024, but of the decade. Not just on Netflix, not just in the streaming landscape, but in all of cinema in 2024. This is up there with your Nosferatus, this is up there with your Anoras, this is up there with all of the most critically acclaimed films of 2024. Truly a must-see piece of art. Yes, I said that this absolute violent balletic film is a work of art. In conclusion, 2024 was an incredible year. I know that this video is coming a decent chunk into 2025, but so far we've had some pretty good stuff this year too. Pretty soon we'll get Jackie Chan returning to the world of Karate Kid, and I personally am very excited for that. Might even need to get to work on a new Jackie Chan video, who knows. In the meantime, let me know what you thought of 2024 when it comes to all of these movies here. Which one's your favorite? Which one do you not care for? What on here do you agree with where I placed it, and what should be higher, what should be lower? And let me know in the comment section down below exactly what you are looking forward to in 2025. Let me know the answer to all those questions in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Facebook, where there's the Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page. Instagram, Martial Arts Film Freak. Martial Arts Film Freak and Tristan_Glover, I think, on Blue Sky. And Martial Arts Film Freak on TikTok. Also, some other links down below. Probably one for, some merch. I've got some stuff down there I've put together over the past few years. But most of all, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.